Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah, just to focus on one idea for Rosh Hashanah. There's so many. Yosef Yair ben Aviv Achava, Sivan ben Sima, Ne'ama bat Aviva. There's 3 big days coming up, 2 days of Rosh Hashanah and 1 day of Yom Kippur. Very often we don't really realize that there's an actual huge difference between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Growing up, I remember in Otniel, we would start davening on Rosh Hashanah at 5. We would finish at around 3. We would eat for an hour, sleep a little bit, come back the next day, daven from 5, finish at 3. And then on Yom Kippur, it was basically the same thing. And one time my friend just came to me and he said, Yair, you're davening on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is the same thing. And if you really thought about it, they're really different from each other. So I wanted to try and understand the difference between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and in the context of one big question. And the big question is, how is it possible for change to last? I know this week I was able to speak to Michael Lax on Sunday before the wedding, and he said to me, Yair, it's really important to change the mindset and just focus just on the wedding. And we had to daven to be able to just dance for 7 hours to change the whole mindset. And so the question is, how can someone really change mindset? How can someone really change on Rosh Hashanah? And so it's really one of the main big differences between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur davening is that on Rosh Hashanah, not even once do we speak ever about any sins. We do not say even once, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu. We never say, Al Chet Shechatanu. There's no remembrance of any sin at all. Whereas when we look at Yom Kippur, the focus of the davening is very much on the concept of what did we do wrong. And so what's really interesting is that even though they both have a strong element of tefillah, the element of tefillah of Rosh Hashanah really doesn't have so much to do with tshuva, and specifically not tshuva from sins. We don't even talk about it once. In all 2 days that we're going to be in shul, and all the davening, and all the tefillot, and everything we're going to say, there isn't even once that we remember the sins that we did in the last year. And I think that what the message of Rosh Hashanah is, on a very, very simple level, is before you look backward, look forward. And what I mean by that is, Rosh Hashanah is the first day of the year, and it's very, very simple to look back on all the mistakes we made. But we do something else. We sit there on Rosh Hashanah, and we look forward, and we forget about everything we did. We're not asking, what do you do right, what do you do wrong? We're just asking, where do you want to go? Look forward. Focus on what does it mean to have a relationship with Hashem? What does it mean if Hashem is really part of our lives? What does it mean if Hashem is part of the world? All those things are such big questions. And only after you know how to look forward, you know where you want to go, only then, 10 days later on Yom Kippur, will we look backward and think about all the mistakes we made in the year that passed. And so I think that the deep message of Rosh Hashanah is forward, and the deep message of Yom Kippur is backward. But what's even more interesting is that it's first forward and only then backward. And what I mean by that is, before we focus on what we did wrong, let's realize where we want to go. And so Rosh Hashanah says, yes, I know you made mistakes, but my main question to you is, where do you want to get to? And only after you ask that question, where do you want to get to, then it's healthy to ask the question of what are the mistakes and things that you want to fix. And to go back to what Michael was saying to me in changing mindset, when I got the bracha and the privilege to be at the wedding, the biggest bracha that Michael gave me was the concept of just looking at Rami, looking at Rebecca, looking at the family, and asking, where is the future right now? And looking at the Chatan and Kala and trying to dance for them for their future. And obviously, 10 minutes after the wedding, you go back and you realize there's so much pain in the past. But the only way sometimes to be able to change and to develop this idea of Yom Kippur is that we have Rosh Hashanah before. And so my bracha entering into the Shabbat when we sit with our families is to get that opportunity in the last Shabbat of the year, entering 24 hours after into Rosh Hashanah, to be able to really focus on that one question: where do we want to go? Not to look at our mistakes and not to look at what we did wrong, but to look at where we want to go. And then when we deal with the mistakes, it will be from a much more positive and productive atmosphere. Shabbat Shalom.